If you're looking for exclusive content, please don't look any further than joining the Trap Talk Patreon family. Some of the best reptile keepers in this industry are part of the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you connect to a Discord. You can also tap into an Instagram group chat, connect with some of the most diverse keepers we have in the reptile hobby today. Shout out to my Patreon members and be ready for Trap Fest 2026. It's going to be one of the biggest events yet. Find all information again in the very first link in the description below. And again, thank you so much to all my fellow Patreon members out there. Cheers.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, coolest reptile network in the world for so many multiple reasons. Back-to-back episodes, for instance, right? That's right. Episode 757, dude. I'm your boy MJ. Welcome to the continued series, GTP subspecies localities, chapter 3, Northwestern Pulcher. Oh boy, I'm excited for this one. So you guys are in for a treat. I'm your boy MJ. All right. First and foremost, do me a favor. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all. You'll be reminded every episode released out of the network 7 days a week. In case you didn't know that, every day there's a brand new episode out of the network, and you can listen to all these episodes on all major audio platforms, okay? So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you want to listen to these, go after it, man. Appreciate all the love and support. Yeah, man, I'm starving. I'm not going to lie. I'm fasting today. Didn't work out. Did a bunch of editing. Did a bunch of computer work. So I decided to fast, and I have 3 more hours before I could eat. So might be a little bit edgy tonight. Not going to lie. But listen, really excited. My man Ryan Young, fresh from his Indonesia trip. We're going to get to that in a second. Looking forward to chatting up with Patrick Holmes as well. Yeah, it's we weren't able to do this segment last month. My plans were to pre-record it before Ryan was taken off, but wasn't able to get that done. So, but it's all good because here we are, chapter 3 in the making tonight. So looking forward to everything, man. Smash that like button for me, please, before we get to business. Really means a lot if you hit that like button. Shout out to people who are here. First and foremost, Woodstock 9029. What is good? Thanks for being here. Clayton Pope in the building. What's up, Clayton? Thanks for being here. My homegirl Amanda, of course, in the building. What is up, Amanda? My man Big Mike, 1776 Exotics in the building. The homie Jarrett, Scalation Nation in the building. The homie Ryan from High Voltage Chondros in the building. The homie from Sweden tapping in, of course. What is up, Marcus? Lisa in the building. I knew Lisa wasn't going to miss this. That's a fact. And of course, my one and only homie. Well, I have more homies, but I'm just saying. Brian Fisher, one of a kind, okay? It's my dog. I got an episode with Brian and Patrick coming pretty soon, okay? That's going to be a good one. But anyways, man, listen, let's get to business. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, Mark Hager out of Texas Chondros. Okay, if you're looking to get into the chondro game, no better person, I feel like, than Mark Hager. Has mentored many, many people. Really one of the nicest guys I've ever came across in this hobby. And he puts on so many other fellow Texas chondro breeders on the map. Only Texas. Only. And that's cool because there's a lot of Texas chondro breeders. So guys, go give Mark Hager a follow right now on Instagram. Just type in TX Chondros. Go to his website, texaschondros.com. See what he has available. Mark's one of the best doing it, man. Shout out to the OG, Mark Hager. Appreciate your love and support, Mark. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by David Brahms over at the Reptile Perch. Got an arboreal snake. Put them on a perch designed by the Reptile Perch, man. So many different size perches you could choose from, all ages. All right. Again, just go to the reptileperch.com, see what perch best suits your arboreal snake. And yeah, shout out to David Brahms. Also somebody who is working with an amazing line of monocory, which we'll be discussing tonight as well. Pulcher. So yeah, if you're into them chondros, I'm sure you are, going to want to check out all the amazing pairings that my man David Brahms is working with over at the Reptile Perch. Again, the Reptile Perch, the reptileperch.com. thank you so much, David, for your support, man. 4 years, I believe, going, him being one of my main sponsors. It really means a lot. Thank you again, David Brahms, over at the Reptile Perch. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by RGI, Rare Genetic Inc. If you got a shed that you need to turn in, chondros, boas, ball pythons, colubrids, right here. Here you go, RGI. Shout out to Dr. Ben and Sean over at Rare Genetic Inc. Find the link in the description below where you could submit sheds, and also go to their Instagram account. Follow them on IG, follow them on YouTube. Stay current. Okay, they drop an episode every Tuesday and I think Wednesday as well. So thank you so much again, RGI. Appreciate everything you guys do. A lot of hard work coming out of RGI, and appreciate everything that they do, man. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Focus Cube Habitats, #1 PVC enclosures in the game. Everything you see behind me are 3x2x2 design enclosures by Stephen and Ashley out of Texas. Go to focuscubehabitats.com, select from 30 plus different design enclosures. My entire room decked out in Focus Cube Habitats at this point. I got more cages coming, and that's a fact. All right. Thank you so much, Stephen and Ashley, for everything that you do and for making my room look so crispy and uniformed. Focus Cube Habitats. Find the link in the description below. And last but not least, shout out to MORPH Market and MORPH Market Shipping. Get your next reptile at morphmarket.com. They stand tall on only representing some of the best breeders we have in this hobby. You are safe by purchasing through MORPH Market, through their guarantee buyer service that they have. And you could also what am I saying right now? Jesus. I'm telling you, I haven't eaten, so my thoughts are just everywhere. But anyways, yes, guys, you can also ship directly from MORPH Market's website as well. Save tons of money by shipping through MORPH Market. I have saved thousands, and as a whole, this hobby saved over $3 million. That is no joke. Thank you so much, Darian, and the entire MORPH Market team, for everything that you do and for continuing to help us save money, which means a lot in 2026. But all right, guys, listen, business out of the way, a little bit of pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Time to learn from some of the best doing it in the game currently. All right, this is chapter 3, Northwestern Pulcher. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really excited about this one. Monokori, Sarong, Arfak, Kofiau. Man, this is gonna be heavy. This is gonna be great. Do what you gotta do to get your mind right, and do what you gotta do to stay hydrated for episode 757, chapter 3, Northwestern Pulcher. Ryan Young, Patrick Holmes, coming at you. Let's go.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, God love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we are live, episode 757, chapter 3. What's up, boys?
Hey,
Not much. Happy to be here.
man, look, I'm sorry, but all I want to do is ask Ryan questions about his trip.
Well, that's how we're going to open up tonight's episode. So let's get right into it, Ryan. Fresh from the Indo. What's going on, buddy?
Yes.
Well, not much. If I yawn, forgive me. I'm fucking tired. So
I'm just happy you're here.
if you see random yawns, don't. It's not because I'm bored. It's because I'm exhausted. So But,
Well, to be fair, I seen you do a ball python episode. You didn't yawn once, so we definitely know it's good. It's because you're tired. It's not because of the topic at hand. Okay.
yeah, no, it's a tough slog getting home. So
Yeah, dude. But let's get into it real quick, man. How was this trip? First and foremost, what number trip is this to Indonesia for you?
it's my second time to Indo.
So okay, well, your second time, man. How'd it go?
It was good. We went with the owner of the farm and some people that he knew, and so it was kind of more their trip, and we were just along for the ride. So the itinerary wasn't as flexible as the previous trip, but we still managed to get some herping in and find a few things. So I can't complain.
All right, give us more. Come on, what'd you find? Let's go. Come on.
Well, the first thing we found of note was a clastolepis.
That was crazy.
Yes.
That was crazy.
Yes.
We found that, and then we were only on Ceram and Ambon for like 48 hours, and then we went to Aru from there. And I guess the first big find in Aru would be the black tree monitors, and then after those, we finally got to a spot with some chondros, and I managed to spot one. So
Dang,
I was
dude.
pretty tickled.
Yeah, man. Okay, let's talk about you guys finding this klepto right here. I mean, what was that like?
It was an interesting experience. I think I sent to the group chat. I don't know if you remember. I sent a picture. I said "Welcome to Ambon" or Ceram, and it was
Right.
like from a mountaintop down to the ocean.
Okay.
And so we ended up. We spent the day up on that platform overlooking the ocean, and then about an hour before it got dark, we started heading down the mountain from that spot. And we didn't go more than 15 minutes and found that clastolepis. So it was pretty wild.
Patrick, you keep
That's
it. You keep that
amazing.
species. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, it's fucking incredible is what it is. You know, it's also cool to see Nick holding it because I often, like, you know, jokingly talk to Steven about old clasto prices. We called them moles or Moluccans back then. I still call them Moluccans, but you know, the first ones that I got, I paid 150 bucks for, and in 2008, Nick put up a pair of U.S. captive bred and born Rolf Kern Moluccans for 800 bucks for a sub-adult pair on King Snake. And I was eyeballing them pretty hard. And I was like, no, I just can't justify it. That's just too much money for Moluccan pythons.
God, what year was this,
Yep.
Pat?
2008, I think.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, so that's why one of the reasons that it's super cool to me to see Nick standing there holding that thing in the wild. But man, what an incredible experience, and one of the coolest snakes on the planet, especially if you're into pythons.
Yeah. So, a couple highlights for you, Ryan. What was some of the biggest highlights of your trip?
Well, finding the chondro probably meant the most to me. But
Really, you don't say.
well,
The
I actually
wild
spotted
are
the chondro, so that was that meant a lot to me.
Yeah. Yes.
That I was the one who spotted it. So I was pretty tickled with that.
We
But
talk
Was it
about
high white though?
no, it's fucking average, just like you'd expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and we talked to people that have seen a lot of them, and it's like, yeah, that's what they look like. Very few of them are that high white. So
Yep.
Yeah. Can we talk about how you found this? I'm gonna pull it up right now. I just pulled it up out of the chats. I'm gonna pull it up, and as I'm pulling it up, Ryan, can you talk about what the time of day it was, what you guys were doing, and how easy it was to find or how difficult?
yeah, I guess we went on a boat. The village we were staying in was downriver, so we ended up getting on a boat at night, and I think it was 10. I think we left the village at 10, and so it had been dark for a few hours, and we motored down the river for a while, probably, I don't know, a half hour or so, and pulled up to a spot where they had seen a scrub python earlier in the day at this like outpost, little camp kind of situation. So we got out there. The water was down pretty good. So we went through the mangroves and where this the little outpost was. We were looking for the scrub python, where that they had seen in the building earlier that day, but we didn't have any luck finding it. And from there, we walked through into the jungle. There was, like I said, there was a bunch of people. There was like, I don't know, something like 12 people, and it was kind of crowded, and we were going pretty fast through the forest, and I was like, man, I didn't feel great about that, and so I was kind of falling behind. And then Chris ended up staying with me, and the trail kind of split, and some of the people went to the right. There was a big group that went to the right, and then there was a couple of the hunters went to the left. And I was like, I'm just going to go to the left and just kind of, meander through and actually really look real hard instead of just looking right along the trail. Just kind of, I was looking past into the forest, and before I knew it, it was just kind of me and Chris wandering around, and I just said something to Chris about, I go, man, how cool would that be to spot one right now? And it was like 2 seconds later, I go, Chris, I see one. And he's like, bullshit. He totally thought I was messing with him. And I was like, no, it's back there. It's like 20 feet off the trail. I can only see, this is from the front side. Like we had to go into the jungle. I could only see the loop and from behind from the trail, like 20 feet away. Yeah. And it took me a minute. Like I was like, fuck, I think that's one. Because it wasn't green in the direction I was looking. It was white from the belly. And I was like, I think that's one. I kind of shine. I'm like, oh, I see its head. I'm like, that's totally one. And so I said, Chris, it's right in there. He was looking. He's like, couldn't find it. Finally, like, come up here, look. And he's like, oh shit, you're right, there is one. And so we crawled back through all the trees, and it kind of opened up a little bit, and we were able to take some pictures, and then we hollered for everybody. And
hey, Pat, are you thinking what I'm thinking right now, looking at this snake?
I don't know. I don't know. What are you thinking?
A lot bigger than 500 grams, it looks like. Or 600.
It's real hard for me to say for sure without a whole lot to compare it to. If they're holding it, it does look like a nice, healthy sized animal.
Yeah, she was big, but I guarantee you she didn't weigh more than 400 or 550 grams. I would guess 480 of just holding her. She
looks a lot bigger just in this pic. Like I don't know why.
She was a big, nice, healthy snake, but nothing heavy like a captive. So I got.
Damn.
She's a lot skinnier in the back end than if it was a captive snake.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I kind of went off on Ryan. I'm like, Ryan, why are you sending me a fucking half shot of the body? And he's like, I'm only giving you teasers. And I'm like, all right, fine. I get it.
Shit.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. You're gonna post some good pictures later.
Yeah, early access. I'm cool with that. And so was this the only chondro you found, Ryan, or did you guys find more after this?
No, I was the only one. And it was an interesting. I knew when everybody would show up that it would turn into a shit show, and luckily we had we hollered for people, but I think it took like 5 to 10 minutes before the first group showed up, and so I was just trying to take as many fucking pictures as I could while there was no one there, and then as soon as the first guys showed up, it started getting to be a fucking zoo, and then by the time the other group showed up, which Mutton was part of that group, it was just fucking total chaos, and they were all doing selfies and different photos, and the snake was getting agitated and wasn't in a very good position. So unfortunately, it was an amazing experience for me, and didn't turn out to be as good of an experience for Nick, unfortunately.
Oh shit. Well, what's the locality of this species right here?
That one was on Aru.
Okay, so that's an Aru right there.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. Fuck, man. Well, you got your one chondro at least. That's good.
Yeah. No, I was over the moon to, like I said, to actually be the one that spotted it, and to have a few minutes before the chaos started with it. That was all I could ask for.
Before we kind of dip into chapter 3, Pat, is there anything you want to ask Ryan about the trip before we continue on?
Interestingly, aren't there retics on Ambon?
There's retics on Ambon, and we were open to finding those, but we didn't find one.
Yeah,
They are likely not supposed to be there. Their genetic work on them showed that they were probably an introduction from the spice trade. So they've probably only been there a couple 100 years.
I think that's actually that's why I was asking if they're even there, because I seem to remember some, I don't know, a confusion or controversy about that. But yeah, no, I'm sure at some point we're going to hear like more of like a full story thing about this. So the two things that I would have asked about were scrubs and chondros, and we just heard all about that. So
yeah, no, we wanted to find an Aru scrub bad too, but it just didn't pan out. So
yeah, I think the first thing I saw was Nick's picture, and I just sat there smiling stupid at it for a long time, because it's not like, it's cool to see the picture, but I was just really happy for you guys. I just was trying to like kind of get in y'all's head with that. You get that childlike fascination that we all get when you see something badass like that in the wild.
Oh yeah, no, it was really wild, because we only herped basically a night and a half on Saram. The first day was just raining like hell, and so the guys took us out when we road cruised a little bit, and the rain had stopped, and we kind of farted around next to the road, but they wanted to get back, and so that was the first night, and the next night was the only other night we had to herp on Saram, and so the fact that we found it so early, and it was still daylight, like it hadn't gotten dark yet, and I was shocked to find one so fast, and so, that it worked out like that. But
perfect.
I won't complain.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, the biggest exciting news is back safe, so that's great.
Before this is a total sidetrack from the conversation, but before we get started, I just wanted to show y'all something, because they're sitting right next to me making a whole bunch of noise.
Oh my God!
And I can't help myself. You know, I come here, Mama.
Is it a Gila monster?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You're just picking it up. You're wild right now.
I'm not just picking it up. This animal is very well secured in my hands. I've been bitten by a Gila monster. It fucking sucks, and it is not going to happen again. But this is let me show you her color. This is a Utah black. Look at that.
That's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, I've got 5 of them sitting right here that are they've been warming up gradually up here in the warehouse, and now they're ready to be fully out of the brumation space and go into the house. And I asked a couple of ball python guys, and they told me it was totally cool to house Gila monsters in 6-quart tubs, because they live in rock crevices in the wild, right? So that's probably the best way to take care of them.
All right, let's get back on track here. Chapter 3. All right.
Okay. Sorry.
I know you're expecting. I mean, you guys are both really stoked on this one, as I am as well. But let's have Patrick open things up here. Patrick, here we are, Pulcher. How do you want to start this off, Pat?
Yeah, so I'm really, really happy that you chose that picture right there, and that is the original Prada Maniquari.
Wow.
That photo was taken by Rico, and that was a later picture of that animal after Gary acquired the rest of the Prada collection. So this is my favorite bloodline of green tree python, period. And I'm almost like tentative talking about the Prada stuff when we're talking about the Pulcher, but I firmly believe that these animals are pure Pulcher animals, and I think the reason that they were so extreme and so much blue and so much consistency with the look is because I think that the original pair were actually siblings, and that they were that Dave was able to just really concentrate the look that they had by breeding 2 siblings together. So that's the pair. The female was obviously a yellow baby. The male was a red. And Dave acquired those at the White Plains show from Nerd as babies. They were a red and a yellow baby, and they were labeled as Maniquari. And you can see the black tail, the female's black tail tip, and the male had a jet black tail like that too. But they produced, I don't know how many clutches over the years. I believe the first clutch was in 2004. I believe the pair was acquired in 99, and the first clutch was in 03 or 04. They produced every year, I think, for Dave, maybe every year, almost every year. And then Gary bought the whole Prada collection, all of the chondros he had left, and he loaned the pair to Rico, and Rico got him to breed once or twice. And then I want to say Gary got one last clutch out of him after he got him back. After Rico got sick. And they were just super consistent. Every single red, and I think they produced like 10 clutches or something stupid like that, like a whole bunch of clutches. And every single red that I've ever seen from that pairing as an adult was at least high blue, and many of them, males included, became like what we would call like a true blue animal or an extremely high blue animal. And I sent you a whole bunch of pictures of Prada stuff just because it's my favorite. But it's not just the high blue. That female right there, I mean, Ryan agrees with me on this, that a nice Pulcher animal with really bold blue markings and the white scales like that, that's just one of the coolest looks you can have on a chondro, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's how my very first chondro was a Pulcher. So
yeah,
yeah. So here's a picture from Ryan. Obviously this is a pretty blue looking fucking snake here. But can you explain what's happening here, Ryan? Other than obviously a hatchling coming out from the mom, but is this something that you produced, or what's this from?
That's a wild collected female Manok. She wasn't blue before being a breeder. She was your traditional green snake with a blue pattern on the spine. She was a red baby. That was her third clutch. And I tried maternal, and I only ended up with 2 babies, unfortunately. And then I bred her to my founder male that Pat likes quite a bit. So
yeah, one of my favorites. That pair was one of my favorite Maniquari pairs ever, and at the time was arguably like my favorite pair of chondros in the United States. And you still have the male, right?
Yeah, the female died after ovulating for her 4th time. I don't know what happened. She ovulated pretty heavily, and then I came home. I had gone to a family event for 48 hours, and when I came back, she was dead on the floor. So I don't know what happened, but
I've seen them rupture follicles and get egg yolk peritonitis, like they go septic.
Nothing you could do to avoid that, Pat?
We're not really even sure what causes it. Like it's only happened to me one time, and I can only assume this was an animal that I bought as an adult, and she had been fed a lot, and she was really, really massive. Alex Warren said she was the biggest chondro he had ever seen in his life until I got that blue and white female that was even bigger. But she ovulated, and then the ovulation seemed to be lasting a lot longer than normal. She was a Superiore female, a kind of mustardy looking Superiore. And this was the type of snake that you would fully expect 30 plus eggs from. She was 6 feet long and probably 1,600 grams or something like that. But yeah, she started perching loosely, and I just knew she was going to roll. So it was like 2 or 3 days after the ovulation started. And when I pulled her out after she died, I'm not exaggerating, egg yolk just poured out of her cloaca.
Oh, wow. Brutal.
Yeah.
And that's
so like going
snakes go septic when that happens, or what like?
Yeah, something like that. Getting into the wrong body cavity is bad business. You can, especially there can already be certain bacteria present, and something like that can just go funky really, really fast.
Damn. Have you ever had that happen to you, Ryan?
With the yolk pouring out?
Yeah.
No, I've lost females of several python species though after ovulation. So
Yeah.
it it clearly something can mechanically go wrong, and it doesn't last very long afterwards.
Yeah.
Going back.
My assumption was she was just so obese, even though I barely fed her for like 2 years after I got her, that she was just still so big and had so many ova that they just ruptured.
Damn.
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly what causes it.
Yeah.
With your guys' experience talking about red monocory babies, is this pretty classic right here? What we're looking at, is this kind of the typical monocory red neo feature you get from the babies, or is this kind of like the higher end looking stuff?
I say that's a little nicer. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You get lighter red ones and darker red ones, but they're pretty typically look like that.
So like BX reds, and they vary then, huh, Pat?
Yes, but like that. What we're seeing right there, or at least the way that picture shows up on my screen, that's about as dark as you will see with pure Pulcher, and they can be anywhere from that to like blazing bright red, the brightest red.
And that's prior to the shed too. That's right after it hatched, so it's not
right.
Yeah. But the thing that I'm looking at is how bold the black is, and that's not the craziest I've seen. I actually sent you a picture of a couple of really crazy ones, but that's above average boldness. So that baby right there to me is like a perfect red. Like if Ryan could have a clutch of 12 and only show me that one, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll take that.
It's the perfect. Father of that one was your favorite one, bred to a new female I've never bred. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they. I'm looking forward to seeing how they change. So and he's high white, and so is she. So I'm like,
I know he's perfection. He's like to me, that's just absolute perfection. Is
the funny thing you're gonna laugh is I did not want him to be the father. I had that female paired to that white striped male I have for like a year and a half.
Oh yeah.
And he wouldn't do anything. And before I went to Australia last year, I was like, man, she's sitting here with giant follicles. I just need a snake to put a peen in her. And so I threw the red male in there, and he locked up with her like 3 times, and she ovulated. I was like, oh shit. So I didn't want him to be the father. I mean, I'm not sad about it. I wanted to pair them at some point because they have like the same shade of green, and they both have a ton of white. So I really wanted to do that pairing, but I did not intend to use him on the first clutch. So hopefully that white male will turn around and he'll be the father next time.
Yeah, make you a good breeder.
Are these one of the red babies you're talking about, Pat? Like that can get
crazy? So that's actually an F2 Prada Maniquari. Wow. And that's I'm calling that F2, but really if I'm right about the original pair, that makes that animal F3. And because I really pretty firmly believe that the original pair were captive, were farm hatched siblings.
That's not even that bold. I've produced one last year to blow that thing away.
Yeah. They can get even crazier than that. I sent a picture of one that Jason Stevens hatched that had a crazy pattern, but that one was my favorite one in the clutch, and it had like a purpley look to the dorsals, like right after the first shed. Tom Iselli produced that in 2011, I think, from a sibling pairing of Prada Maniquaris, and they were maybe the brightest red baby chondros. Yeah, so like that's some crazy bold black right there. I love that. I had 2 from that clutch also back then.
So who produced this one right here?
Jason Stevens at Colorado Chondros. The male was a Bushmaster Maniquari, and the female was just a random import Pulcher type that he named after a river because her dorsal markings reminded him of like a aerial view of a river, just this wicked blue wash down her back. I sent pictures of her too, but that's the telltale thing with red neo Pulcher stuff. They are always some shade of really fucking red. When you get into the east, into the Utariensis, is where you start getting brown babies. So when we're talking about, the mainland northern mainland stuff, that red is unique to the Pulcher types.
Can we discuss when you say Pulcher types? Are you saying it could be anything that's classified under Pulcher and you just don't know? Is that why you call it a Pulcher type?
Yeah, well, yeah. Because first of all, most of the time we really don't know where they actually came from. So yeah, there's some that are pretty obvious, or sometimes we can get good information about which port they actually came out of. Like I have some that were labeled RFOC that I have pretty good information. They actually came out of Manokwari, so maybe they're RFOC, maybe they're Manokwari, but.
Well, if they came from RFOC, they would go through Manokwari no matter what to get.
Exactly. And, it's funny. I'll go ahead and bring it up now since we're talking about red and yellow babies. The first shipment, they were all labeled RFOC. And then a year later, got in another shipment, and all the reds were labeled RFOC and all the yellows were labeled Manokwari. And they probably all came from the same spot. So.
Yeah. But with that topic, as far as Pulcher type, you said this plenty of times on a podcast, but these things were just labeled due to the fact to the airport they're being flown out of, correct? Is that the case with these right here?
Sometimes
it's actually even worse than that.
Explain.
Well,
Ryan.
yeah, that's if it's a good label. That's like one of the best you can ask for.
The reality, after spending time at the farm and talking to them how things get there, the reality is you can throw most of this shit out of the water. It's they get. There's the local collectors. They send to the regional guys, and the regional guys ship everything out. It's not.
Yep.
There's, I don't know. The more I learn, the less I trust any of it. It's just, it's you can tell the species apart very easily, but the rest of it is just a crapshoot for the most part. Arus are Arus. Southern mainland shit, southern mainland stuff. North is the north. Northwest is. You can get a pretty good idea. That it's, it's not a northern. And then Kofiau is somewhere. A yellow Kofiau is easy to tell, and a green Kofiau is typically a little different looking and easy to tell. But everything, you can't tell a Wago Island from a Missoul, from a Sarong, from a Manokwari. You can't tell
or a
any of those.
Batanta.
Yeah, you can't tell any of those apart.
That's the female.
RFOC as well.
Is the Pulcher type female that you're talking about, Pat?
Yep. Yeah, that's the mother of the last two babies that we were looking at, and that's just the look for me, man. That's just like
insane.
the green chondro with a really nice bold blue pattern is just my jam.
This gives you Prada vibes, doesn't it? Isn't this kind of like yeah, because that's what the Prada stuff is just really exceptionally high blue Pulcher type animals.
MJ, I just sent you a picture on Facebook of a red baby.
Yeah, so Ryan's gonna flex pretty hard with this red baby right here. This is fucking.
Patrick
nasty.
should like this one.
This is nasty, bro. Holy shit.
Yeah,
it's cherry red with the fucking bold black on the dorsal. Yeah, and damn. This looks like art. This looks like somebody drew this shit.
Yeah, that's the look, man. That's the jam.
Yeah. So you made this snake, Ryan?
Yep. Yeah, that snake is from Patrick's favorite pair. Well, one of his favorites. Bred to a snake that was half related, has the same grandfather and a different grandmother.
Did you send me a picture of that pair that were locked up?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think I sent you both pictures of both pairs on both sides that made that.
So this is the pairing you're talking about, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that's the red pair, and then the other pair was the red male to a yellow female.
So this is a yellow to a red or a red to a yellow?
No, that's red to red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my jam.
That's the one that I was saying was my favorite. That's one of my all-time favorite chondro pairings, period.
I would agree. Like if we're talking designer, like this is fucking crazy right here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And can you explain where these snakes originally came from, Ryan, and what year you got them and everything?
I got them in 2013, I believe. I got a group of 5 wild caught, all from the same shipment. Snakes that were all labeled as Manokwari, but take it for what it's worth. They're Pulcher for sure, but where exactly on the bird's head they came from, I'll They said they were Maniquari, but hard to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just so we could kind of keep it as real as possible, like, you know, obviously labels and names in 2026 means a lot to a lot of us, you know, and when I mean us, like us newer keepers coming in that are like a few decades behind you guys. What's the best way to move forward with this? I mean, do we just keep the Maniquari label because is that where it's at and it's impossible to go back, or, you know, because, you know, it kind of gets confusing talking to someone like Ryan, who, you know, obviously he's just saying what he feels like is correct, but a lot of this stuff for the most part now is kind of not labeled correctly. Or is
Well,
that
we don't know. That's the problem. And I mean, listen, if it was up to me, if I could shake my chondro wand and have things my way, I would refer to them as just Northwestern green pythons. And then you could make a case for talking about Kofiau slightly differently.
Yeah.
But other than that, I wouldn't talk about sarong, you know, any of that differently. But
Yeah.
that's me.
I love the labels, but as long as like people understand exactly what Ryan and I are saying right now about those labels, is like that it's just like a cool thing to call it. But and look, if I could get some pairs of stuff that I had actual collection data and locality on, I would just geek the fuck out over that. I think it was so cool. But mostly, like a lot of the traits that we try to assign to these things, as long as they're within that regional type, they're kind of like all those traits can belong to any of those localities, most likely. So, you know, as long as you're not crazy about, you know, as long as it's a casual thing, I think it's totally fine to keep using those labels, especially with something like the Prada stuff. You know, I have quite a few animals, and there's a lot of stuff like the stuff that Steven Saltzman is doing. Some of the stuff that David Brahms is doing. David also has import blood too. The stuff that Gary's doing. At this point, there's so many generations down, and there's some like questionable blood introduction along the way that they're more like designer Maniquari, because we've been continually breeding them to try to achieve the look of that animal that's on the screen right now. So like that animal is the uncle of the babies I was referring to earlier, and the F2 or possibly F3s. Tom Iselli bought a 2.1 from Dave Prada that were holdbacks. He bought them as a 1.2, but they ended up being a 2.1, and it was 2 reds and a yellow. And he paid $650 a piece for them as like sub-adult holdbacks. And he had all 3 of them together, but it was the other male, because he thought it was a trio. He put all of them together to breed, but it was the other male that locked up the female first. And so he pulled that male out. And he, I can't remember if he ever got a clutch from that male before he sold him to Gary, but Gary ended up buying all of Tom's stuff. I introduced Tom to Gary back then, and Gary bought a bunch of the babies that he had produced. Some of them were Maniquari, and some of them were crossed to, they were Maniquari times Bocandini, which is essentially like Womena or whatever. And Buddy Buscemi still has some of that outcross blood. But yeah, like to me, that look of that male right there, the blue wash, the black tail, the little yellow mask, the little bits of black flecking, little tiny bits of yellow, and the diamonds, all that's just perfection to me. And that animal that you're showing right now is either an offspring of that male, or that's an offspring of the original Prada pair. But that's a picture that Gary took. That's out of his collection. So that's either from the OG pair, and maybe one that Gary hatched, or maybe one that Rico hatched, or that's one that Gary hatched from the or Tom hatched from the that were like F2 or F3 Pradas, whatever. But that's the look. And Gary's real good about taking these pictures in his reptile room with terrible lighting. And the cool thing about that is a lot of people take pictures that and whether they enhance them or just let their phone do it, make the snake look way better than it actually does. With Gary's pictures, you know that the snake actually looks way better than it does in his picture. So
you're not wrong, because when I went to his house and recorded a vlog, like I was fucking really blown away, and I was like, "Oh my god, these are 10 times nicer in person." Like,
I know.
But let's kind of talk about Gary's Prada line stuff, because I don't know, I can't remember if it was you, Pat. I'm pretty sure, but you kind of question some of the Prada stuff he's produced being pure locality. I think it was the Kenny collab that he has, those babies that he's making, the Monocory / Arfac stuff.
That's the thing that I take the issue with, not the Manicory blood, but the Arfac blood, because I am of the very strong opinion that the original Bushmaster Arfac animals were crosses. I think they were Pulcher times Utariensis crosses, and I always feel terrible saying all this stuff out loud, even though I've said it 100 times, because Kenny still doesn't believe me, and I don't know how Gary feels about it, but I'm not shitting on their stuff. They're some of my all-time favorite chondros. They're just absolute East-West crosses produce some of the coolest looking stuff, in my opinion. And most of the looks that we used to call Highland back in the day were just East-West crosses. All of Garrick's stuff, all of the Ed Bradley stuff, that's what that is. It's an East-West cross. So again, I'm not talking shit about it, but those animals, all of the Bushmaster Arfac that came in around 2004, they were farm hatched. They came in as babies. They were dark brown babies. They have subsequently produced lots of super dark brown offspring, and that's just not a Pulcher trait. And the adults don't look like one or the other. They look like a cross.
I don't trust any of that farm stuff. None of my none of the bloodlines I work with have any farm blood. I don't trust it as far as I can throw it.
Yeah, and that's why with mine, I have some of this lineage, some of it that doesn't have any of the Bushmaster Arfac stuff, and some of it that does, and I love all of it. And I also have imports that that are like gonna be used to just pair to the other imports, so that I have, regardless of where they were actually collected, I have pure wild blood Pulcher. And I don't know if you want to do it now or later, but there's like pictures of some of those animals on my Instagram, and I love having that group to raise up.
Well, before we go crazy with that, we didn't even do the nerdy stuff yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do the nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Pulcher was originally described in 1878 by Henry Emile Sauvage, and he was a herpetologist in Paris, France, and he described Pulcher from 4 specimens collected from Mansinam Island, which is an island just offshore from Manicory, just southeast of Manicory. They were collected by Leglaise and deposited in the Museum of Natural History of Nature in Paris. And those 4 specimens were compared to 5 specimens from Biak. And those, they concluded that the Pulcher was different from the Azuria that was described by Meyer in 1874. And so they just named them Pulcher. I couldn't find any reference to what Pulcher was, whether it's named after a person, place, or a thing. I couldn't find that out. And then they did designate, in the original description, they did designate a holotype, but I don't know, when Natouche did his paper in 2020, they designated a new lectotype for Pulcher. So either he was unaware that one of those was the holotype, or couldn't discern which one of the 4 it was. And so they designated a new lectotype of those, one of the original 4 specimens in France. So that's his, and then, there's nobody knows whether any of those other 2 descriptions knew of Viridis yet or not. It's hard to say, but they were definitely compared Pulcher against Azuria.
I was Googling this because I thought I might be wrong, and I was wrong. Because I was thinking of Pictus or Picta means painted, and I was thinking Pulcher means painted. Pulcher just means beautiful. So
yeah,
those guys had it right.
Yeah, could be.
That makes sense. And so I got to ask you, Ryan, if you know this, or Pat, when did this stuff started becoming labeled as Monocory, Sarong, Arfact? What year was that?
I didn't see any Manicorai stuff until the early 2000s. Most stuff before that I saw was just labeled Sarong.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wasn't into it enough that far back to say when those labels first started coming around. But I do know, like I say, that the original Prada pair were labeled Manicory on the nerd table at White Plains in either 99 or 2000. I think it was 99. But I didn't start getting like geeky with the locality stuff until about 20 years ago, about 2006. And my introduction to all of that was pictures on the Bushmaster website.
Yeah.
So it was Bushmaster that really kind of showed everyone, you know, what these were coming in labeled and everything. That's where it all started. They played
a big part, but also Danny and Jimmy Gorman at D&J Reptiles in New York.
Wow.
That's who that's where Joe Vinsky got his founder male and the female that came with him. That's where Dave Prada got his Womena and Bocandini stuff. That's where Vin Russo's Womena stuff came from. There's just they brought in a whole bunch of stuff that was just, I think they were bringing in Kofiau stuff too. Those guys had some awesome connections. Vinny Klessy's talked about that on the show too, because he used to hang around their shop when he was a kid. And yeah, so they were definitely, that's him. That's the OG Vinsky male that you can barely see it in that picture, but he's got a jet black tail tip. And that's a shitty blurry picture. But that's the original Vinsky male. And he came in with a female and they both had a really special look. And Joe told me that animal right there, I think Harlan Wall took that picture, and I believe that animal is labeled Tamika. I just threw that in there so we can have a Tamika discussion. But yeah, that Vinsky male, produced two clutches that were really amazing. But I don't know why Joe never bred him to the female that he came in with. I would have loved to have some pure offspring from that pair.
Did the Vinsky blue line originate from this snake right here?
Yep. Yeah, that's the one. That's the founder. And
awesome.
Joe got him as a juvenile that was just starting to change. And one of the brothers told Joe when the box came in, and he was like, "Hey man, there's a couple in here that are really, really special." And it was that one and the one that Joe called his sister, even though they were probably wild caught, but they were young. I sent you a picture of her too. She's like sitting on a thick branch in a Cambro tub, I think.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, here she is. Okay. So let me show this one real quick. I'm assuming this one right here, Pat.
Yep, that's the one. Yeah, that snake came in. Those two animals came in together as just starting to change juveniles. And you can see the black on her tail as well.
So wait, this is a juvenile?
No. I'm saying when they came in as juveniles, and he did get a clutch out of her, but it was with a male that he produced from the founder male. I used to have offspring of that female right there that I got from Joe. And I still have a Vinsky male. The last chondro Joe ever hatched actually in 2015. That's from a pairing of half siblings that were sired by the original male.
Wow. And so you're always wondering why the founder male didn't get bred to this girl?
Yeah, and I can't remember if I ever asked Joe if he tried that pairing or not. And it may even have been that he lost that male before that female was ready to go or something like that. You know, the male's going to mature a lot faster.
Right. Okay. Kind of going back to the Prada stuff real quick. I mean, God damn, dude, this thing looks so nice right here. But this is the stuff you're talking about, right? Like the
yeah.
characteristics that this snake is showing. This is typical Prada stuff.
Yep. Yeah, that blue wash that starts at the neck and kind of fades as it goes down. And they don't start like that. They turn green, which is blue markings like everything else. And then that blue just gradually washes down. And in almost every animal, it's way heavier towards the neck and kind of fades as it goes down. But that's, just kind of the classic look. And that animal may have been hatched by Gary, but that's definitely from the original Prada fair, maybe even from their last clutch. And that animal was owned by John Battaglia. And I used to have one of his sons, and I still have some offspring from that male at the house now. I bred him to a Biak, and I bred him to a VR Maniquari. A couple of VR Maniquaris. So I think I got 3 clutches total out of him, 2 Maniquari clutches and 1 outcross clutch.
And I'm sorry, remind me, Ryan, you do have Prada stuff that you work, or you don't?
No.
Okay. What would you call the Maniquari line that you have, Ryan? Or what do you I guess label it as nothing?
It's just
Northwestern?
Northwestern from me, I guess. I don't know.
Here's I hope I'm not getting too off topic here, but this is where I kind of get confused because, again, as I was becoming better friends with Patrick and even yourself, Ryan, I started realizing that Maniquari Sarong are considered the same because they're Pulcher, right? But clearly the characteristics between the two are fucking different. This
Not
is a
really.
Sarong. No, you don't think so?
No.
I feel
You're
like
you're looking at a yellow animal versus a red is really all you're looking
that's
at.
what that is. So basically,
Yeah, that one was a yellow.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is a Sarong that you have, correct, Pat? Or you had?
Yeah, I had her. That picture's from like 2017 or something like that, 2018. But yeah, and I got a couple of clutches out of her, and she's when the first clutch I got from her was from a Sarong Arfak male that Jason Stevens produced, and he was probably my all-time favorite chondro that I've ever kept. And back then, I was still convinced that I was doing a pure Pulcher pairing until I finally accepted the reality of the OG BMR Fox stuff. But yeah, no, what Ryan is saying is that look you can see across the board. The only thing that I've seen, and I've never been over there, so I don't know what it's like in the wild, but the only thing that I've seen is that it looks like the further west or the further east you go, the incidences of reds increases as you go east within the Pulcher territory. So
based on the import information, that seems to be the case.
Based on the import information.
I was always told that there was no red babies in the islands off of the north.
Yeah, the Raja
Yeah,
Ampat.
the Ampat. Yeah, I was told there was no red babies there from the trade.
There
but
are.
Chris said on Mosul they had red babies. And
I think he told me that there were reds. No, I think it was Mosul, and there's definitely reds on Waigeo as well. And then, that leaves Batanta and maybe a couple other ones. But it does seem to be true that there are no reds on Kofiau. I've seen a shitload of Kofiau over the years, and I've never seen a red. But
the one we caught on Wago was a yellow. So
and across that range, even in areas where there may be more reds, there's still the minority by far. I talked to an Australian guy that said he had looked at a whole lot of chondros in the Sorong area, both at both captive, animals that were getting ready for export, but also he had seen apparently a bunch of them in the wild. And he said if he had to guess that around Sorong, maybe 1 in every 15 of them was red.
Yeah, because you don't see a lot of red Sarongs, right?
Yeah, historically in the trade, when I first got into it, we never saw any red Sarongs. It wasn't until later, and then most of those, they started coming in, and then they were like, oh, these are maniquaries. So whether or not they were just labeling them maniquaries to get more money for them, because maniquarie typically cost more money than a sarong. So it's,
unless it's a red sarong.
Yeah, I've got a snake that I bought, and the guy got a bunch of sarongs, and then the one I got was kind of extreme, and of course it was labeled a maniquarie, even though the other 50 snakes in the box were sarongs. It's just like, it's like, look, man, if you wanted more money, just say so. But
and again, that's why I asked the whole labeling question, right? Because anyone out there who's thinking like, wow, if I have this red monocory / sarong and just call it a sarong, it's going to be more sought after or something like that.
Well, I mean, I don't see why you don't just call them Northwestern chondros. It's pretty.
That's right. I much rather go that route. You're right.
Well, I'll tell you a story about that, about the Northwestern thing. And the animal that we're looking at right there, that was a Bushmaster animal that was labeled as maniquarie, and she was captive bred. She came in as a yellow juvie. And she had the classic look, and she's also an example of an animal that, like, I can look at that snake and tell you that it was captive bred. Most of the time, I can look at adult chondros and tell you whether or not they were captive bred because they just look different. I got a clutch from her in 2012. She was just a super nice snake, and that's I love that look too. That's the look that got me into chondros, like the sarong female you had on the screen a minute ago. That's the look that, it's not just for me. Trooper Walsh commented on that very picture one day when I posted it. Trooper Walsh commented that was the look that got him into chondros.
Yeah, it was the look that got me into chondros. The very first chondro was a classic yellow sarong.
Yeah, not me.
yeah, and there's I sent a picture of my first true captive bred chondro that I got about 20 years ago. That was a sarong male.
Is that the beginning, or
it looks like he's perched on a thick branch, and it looks like there's like a bunch of grass around him. So with that Northwestern label, Ryan and I have talked about this, and we've talked about it on the show, but we both started having these like ideas about regional variants a long time ago, and like grouping them by region and not necessarily by locality. And there's a popular line now, the VR maniquaries from Vitale. Jordan Russell brought in Vitale's pair. Yeah, that's the one right there. That was my first captive bred chondro in 2006.
Hey, keep it going, Pat. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, and that animal, I got that snake for $150 as an adult. I bought him off of that picture, and he came with pictures of his parents. I got to pick him out between two males, and the guy had kept 2.2. He bought a pair of Wildcats from Bob Clark. Bob Clark brought in a shipment. He bought a pair. He got him to breed. That snake came with a picture, a Polaroid of his mom wrapped around eggs and the little yellow babies hatching out. And I was just like, that was like when I decided I was going to be a chondro breeder, when I got to see that little Polaroid that came with that picture and that snake. And I was like, yeah, I have to do this. And I still haven't ever done maternal yet, even though that was like the whole reason that I wanted to do it. But yeah, so Jordan Russell had a pair of snakes that were posted on King Snake, and this is in 2010 or 11 or something like that. And I reached out to him, and he sent me. I asked him. I told him I wanted to see pictures of their tails and some pictures of their eyes, and I can't remember what he had them originally posted as, but I know that one of them came in labeled as Cyclops, and the other one came in labeled as Aru. And they were both very, very clearly Pulcher type animals. They both had black tails, and they're like just very obvious Pulcher animals. And I think he had them on King Snake as one labeled as Cyclops, but he knew the other one wasn't an Aru or something like that. Anyways, I reached out, I got pictures, and so he reposted them on King Snake labeled, because I told him he said, well, what do I call these things? And I said, well, you call them Northwestern Chondros. And this is in 2010 or 11 or something. And there just nobody was saying it that way. But what I was trying to convey with that was that they kind of all look basically that way in that region. And we can't say exactly what they are because they came in labeled as a Cyclops and an Aru. They were both red babies, so they're clearly not an Aru. And so he reposted them on King Snake as Northwestern type chondros, and Vitali bought them and called them Maniquari. So that's where we get the and that's an amazing line of chondros. Again, I'm not shitting on the line. I have that blood in my collection. I love it.
I have two here. So.
Yeah, it was an incredible pair. The parents were ridiculous, and I wanted to buy them myself, and I just didn't have the cash. And they sold when they had been sitting there for days, and when he reposted them with that label, Vitali scooped them instantly and labeled them as Maniquari.
Is that what VR is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the ones I have are from his the next female, not his yellow female.
Not the original.
Not the red female.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was one of the ones from his original pair, a girl that I had years ago. But yeah, that was a 2014 animal. Awesome snake.
Yeah. So, and I think a lot of these snakes we're looking at right now, Pat, other than I think Ryan's, they're no longer with us, right?
Yeah, most of the animals that we've been looking at pictures of are animals that are not with us anymore. Like that Sauron female with the really bold blue. She was 13 or 14 when she had her first. Yeah, that girl. She was 13 or 14 years old in 2019 when she had her first clutch.
Jeez. Remind me where you got her from again. Was it just an import or what was it?
A local friend of mine. I paid $500 for that snake, and it was supposed to be a male, and it was not. He sold me 4 adult animals for $2,000, and a Maniquari, a Jayapura, and 2 Sorong. And she was just. I thought about selling that snake until I realized it was a female, and I was just like, because that's just one of the coolest snakes I've ever had in my life. I love that animal, man. She was amazing. Yeah,
I mean, it's been kind of your thing, Pat. You come up on some crazy, amazing, fucking low cost animals.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't think anyone in the hobby is as good as you are when it comes to that.
So Thomas is a really good friend of mine, and he brought in a lot of controversy. No, different Thomas. Thomas Eimermacher. In that Kofiau headshot that I sent you, that's his watermark on there, TGE. And I got my first 2 Kofiau from Thomas. That animal right there was an 07 import, and she weighed almost 1,000 grams. And when I got her, and was not a fat snake. She was a big, huge, lean, muscly snake. Now she had been in captivity for like 3 years, so she was being well fed. But I got her. I got her and another canary phase female. They were both still just completely yellow. And one was about 750 grams, and the other one was almost 1,000 grams. And they were both lean snakes, and just big. And I paid $3,500 for both of them, which at the time was just insane to spend $3,500 on 2 imported chondros. But the first Kofiau were like $10,000 a piece or something like that. So.
And since we're on the topic of Kofiau, can we explain why Kofiaus are only yellow? And how they could still be considered pulcher, where there's red and yellow pulchers with Maniquari, little with sarong. What is it about Kofiaus only being yellow?
Well, it looks like they're
founder syndrome. More than likely,
exactly.
The original animals that got there were yellow. So once they're
yellow,
yellow,
they probably floated over. Yeah.
Floated over. What do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know that there was like that island it's way out there. I don't know that it was originally part of the mainland. There's a lot of species of a lot of animals that like end up on islands because they floated over on a tree after a hurricane or whatever.
Shit, okay.
You know, like Somalia Nauta. That's a captive bred Kofiau that Rico produced from his BHC male. I should have sent you pictures of BHC. He was this crazy, unique, high black Kofiau.
Does BHC stand for anything?
Yeah, black-headed canary. He had a black head and weird black scales. And, you know, you could argue, there was argument about whether or not he was a Kofiau until Rico bred him to multiple Kofiau females and got obvious Kofiau offspring. So that animal is pushing 2 years old in that picture. And he turned green when he was about 3.5. And I sent you a picture of that exact same animal.
Oh my God. Okay, green. Hold on. So how old was this snake in this picture, Pat? If you could recall?
I believe he was about almost 3 years old in that picture.
That's pretty well off in age. So that means OCC is pretty well established. But then what you're saying is it's switched up.
Yes. And so here's the thing. Sometimes it's super rare, but sometimes you get a delayed OCC. But Kofiau go through an OCC before they ever go green. And it's really obvious if you're looking at the snake. So they have an OCC. It's just subtle. They stay yellow, but their markings turn white. They go instead of going lavender and then blue, they go lavender and then white, and their tail color will change as well. So you can tell that they've gone through an OCC, but they're just still yellow. But then randomly, it's not random. Oh my God! Did you see Brian's comment?
Yeah, he's this close to getting blocked. That son of a bitch. This is not
sorry. That's
a-hole.
That's good stuff.
Bitch out right now. That's how close I am.
What did he say?
Because can we pause what we're talking about so I can explain this to Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
you know my prize BAC that I produced that's pretty high yellow right now. Right,
Oh yeah,
Ryan?
the one I fuck with you about.
I guess, yeah. So Brian was over at Trap Fest last year, and I was showing him the snake, and he's like, "I promise you, by the time this snake is 3 years old, it's going to be at least 50% green." And the bet is, if I win, I get one of his pure BAC babies, and if I lose, I give him one of my pure BAC babies. So he's basically saying this is going to be fish. He's saying that.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't. Hey, listen. As long as it happens after 3 years, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
He can turn green overnight.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that's going to happen. Damn it.
Well, that's what the Kofiau can do. That animal turned green over a period of about 3 weeks.
But
I got rid of my Kofiaus because the male turned green.
So I heard that was the thing with Kofiaus, that they look great, but then there's a time and place where it's like a light switch turns on and then they're green overnight. But
sometimes it's not always like that.
Okay, all right.
It's mostly like the.
Yeah, it's mostly like that, and you know, Chuck has some theories about like he's actually gone on to classify them as like different types with how they turn yellow, how they turn green, and when they turn green. But Ryan alluded to this earlier. They have a distinct look even after they turn green, where you can't definitively look at one and say it's a Kofiau and not like a Measle or a Batanza or like Ayo or so on. But man, they have a different look, and like they maintain yellow undertones. And some of them, Chuck had some that would turn back and forth. He had a male, I think it was a male, that would just get green speckles and then lose them. Like, so they would cycle in and out of it. And I know there was at least a couple of females, at least one that Chuck had, and at least one that Rico had that were still canary phase at 10 years old. So there's this weird variability, but it seems like breeding and moving and stress can get them to turn.
What was the outcome with this snake at its final stage? I mean, are we looking at it, or did this end up turning a?
No, she turned green, and so did the other female that I bought from him. Yeah, and I knew that was completely a possibility even back then.
Are we talking green like what we just saw? Like, because you could see a scale of green on this snake's head. You know what I mean?
No, they both turned green, but it was like the typical Kofiau green. Like, it's this very light green that's like infused with yellow. They're still incredibly beautiful and unique snakes, but just total color change.
Yeah, it's like the yellow doesn't leave the skin or the bottom of the scales. It's like only the edge and the part of the scale turns green, but the yellow kind of stays this bleed through look.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. We call it the dirty bird look. They go from canary to dirty bird.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I think only Rico beat me to breeding Kofiaus in the States.
Oh, nice.
Damn. Hey, calm down, Ryan. All right, you're getting a little cocky on me right now. All right, I need you to relax.
Oh man, I gotta flex every now and again when I can.
Yeah, that's right.
You deserve it, buddy. You don't flex enough. I'll be honest. Okay?
I only did one. I only did the one Kofiau pair, and then Rico talked me out of my pair. So.
But yeah, with that topic of Kofiau, like, what's the deal with them being so scarce? Like, can you guys break that down? Is there a reason behind that?
I think
Small
they collected
island.
them.
Yeah, collected the shit out of it. Small island, and it's also not easy to get to.
Yeah, it's hard to get to. They collected it, and it looks like most of the ones that are there now are just green.
Yeah.
They don't. All the imports, most of the imports I've seen in the last 5 years, 90%, 95% are green. You rarely see the yellow ones anymore. So whatever was selectively doing the yellow in the wild seems like we plucked those out, and now there's not many left.
Well, here's one you sent me.
And we fucked it up. We plucked them out and fucked it up and haven't maintained it very well. Only a handful of people.
Go.
Look at this fucking thing. Oh my God. Was this you, Ryan?
That's me.
So what happened to these babies? What's going on?
I only hatched 3 of them, unfortunately. And Rico got the babies and the pair from me.
Jeez. What year was this?
I want to say 2000, somewhere between 2008 and 2012.
Jeez. And what happened to this female?
As far as I know, Rico had the pair until, the end. I don't know where his canary stuff went after that. But she looked like that. She never turned green at my house. And last I talked to Rico, she never turned green for him either.
So that's pretty much what she looked like till the end.
Yeah.
Now the canary, that's a line of Kofiau, is that correct?
No, that's just that was the trade name for them when they came in.
Yeah, and we tried to. Not everybody adhered to this, but we tried to only use canary for the ones that were actually yellow.
Right.
Yeah. Well, for a while when they first came in, nobody knew where they were from. They only called them canaries. It took a while before the Kofiau thing became public knowledge.
Yeah.
So the person who really have true canary stuff at this point is Chuck now? Is he the only one? Or who has true canary Kofiaus in the United States?
I
have no idea.
Pat does? And where's that from, Pat?
They were produced by Chuck.
Oh, wow. And that's some of the BHC stuff or no?
Definitely a couple of them. I have 3 at the house that are still yellow. I have 5 total, although 2 of them are not staying. My place is just kind of transitional for them. The guy I got them from is selling them to someone else, and I just because he wanted to move them out, I took everything, and I've kept them QT'd and tested them a couple of times for the person that they're going to. So there's a yellow pair going out, and then I've got I have an old green male. He's actually kind of mustardy. He's really funky looking. I don't know if I'll ever do anything with him. He may just hang out and retire. But then I've got a younger male that is a dirty bird and a solid yellow female, and they are right about 4 years old right now. So I'm just kind of watching that female and waiting on her to tell me she's ready. I actually palpated her for follicles just for fun the other day because she was day hunting. Nothing yet. She's still smallish. She's maybe 600 grams or something like that. So hopefully get that working.
Your goal for the most part with any success is to hoard this stuff, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, it's a joint project with me and Matt Morris. So, but yes, we will be planning on hoarding them.
Makes sense. Matt Morris, I'm on your bumper.
Matt and I kind of have like an informal stud book on the Kofiau that are around.
Yeah.
And he and I have been talking about this for many, many years, and we've kind of kept tabs on stuff, and we really only have an interest on them going to people who are working with Kofiau already. Like if any of them leave, it's got like, we don't want them going anywhere else. If you're not like really dedicated to having a pure Kofiau project and helping us maintain this blood, and we're also working on bringing in some new blood. There's some people overseas that are in 2 different spots that are working with them and have canary phase animals, and so that's the ultimate goal, is to get babies from these, to bring in some fresh blood, as rare as it is, and to try to make it a little less rare in captivity.
Interesting. And for you, Ryan, did you ever have interest in pursuing Kofiau stuff again, or is that ship sailed for you?
Probably not. I'm probably, I don't know. When they turn green, it's too heartbreaking. So
It is heartbreaking. I've watched it happen several times.
Listen, I like green chondros. Don't get me wrong, but it's for the hassle and because the babies are not fun.
Babies are a pain. The adults are
between
expensive.
all that and then just to have it be kind of a less pattern, because they're usually very, very, they're not heavily patterned typically. They're very reduced pattern. And so it's just kind of like, for me, I'm like, if I'm going to do a Northwestern, I'd rather, well, my current pursuits are to make high white ones, but ideally I like a lot of pattern on them.
Kind of going back to the line of monocory that you're, line of Northwesterns, I guess I can say. This right here kind of gives me Prada vibes, but it's not, right, Ryan?
No, that's a F1 from that red pair.
Yeah.
So regardless, Pat and Ryan, you guys, if you work the right kind of pairing, you're going to get stuff that looks like this.
It seems to from red to red pairs, you seem to get, or red babies, you seem to get that kind of look.
Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting. This is exactly what I'm talking about all the time when like the differences between captive bred and wild caught. Like that animal is just a very clearly captive bred animal, and for some reason, even F1, with red Manokwari, we see a little like higher incidence of the black flecking, and the blues can be bolder. They're like the only.
Her mom had quite a bit of black,
quite a bit of black. I know.
And then
I know, and the VR stuff was like that too. The original VR pair, one of them had a good amount of black.
Yeah, and she wasn't quite this blue. She was. I think I sent you a picture of her on eggs. This picture was taken after she laid the eggs, so she's more bluish color than she was prior. But she always was a little more bluey looking. But there is a picture of her on a white paper towel, white tub with eggs.
Well, Ryan, you didn't listen to my instructions about not sending pictures in bulk on Facebook, because when you do that, pal, try to make it difficult. And you did it too, Patrick. After I complimented you on sending them individual, he sends me the next batch in fucking goddamn bulk, and I'm like,
"Oh, sorry, it was all I could do to get time to even send you any pictures."
It's all good. It's all
good. I only did like a couple little small batches and a whole bunch of linear, and the small batches were all pictures of basically the same thing.
I haven't even been home 48 hours, man. Give me a break.
I know, bro. My bad. Your balls a little too much. Is this it right here?
No, that's her. That's a yellow female. There's another another one with that group that was.
If I can find it.
The white with the other one. But yeah, so I don't. And then for as far as me having a bloodline, I have quite a few Pulcher bloodlines. It's not just one.
Here it is. I found it. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
That's her.
Yes.
And what year was this, Ryan?
2025.
Nice. This last year?
Yep.
And how are these babies doing? Did you sell any yet?
No. I got 9 red babies. I think she's red dominant. So.
Listen, Pal, I know I said this before, but I really want one.
I know. I told you, and you can have one.
Yes. Lock me in right now, dude. I'll fucking send you a deposit. Can you lock me in for one of these, please?
Yeah. I just have to decide what I'm doing with the red to red pair. So I just haven't. The male was a het yellow, and the female was a possible het, and there was 10 babies, and they were all red. So I'm assuming either I had the best luck of no, or she's not a het. I'm guessing she's not a het, but I'll breed her to a yellow to make sure next time.
And the reason why you said pos het is because you're not sure where that originated
Oh, her
from?
parents, no, her parents were both red, but they were both hets because I've produced yellows from them. So
Got it. Okay.
so she would be a 66% pos het.
So she was bred to a red though.
Yeah, she was bred to a half sibling red male that was a guaranteed het, and her brother proved out to be a het. I bred him to a yellow female, and he proved to be a het, but she only threw red babies so far. But it's only 10, so I could have missed it.
So clearly, looking at all these examples, we know that, other than the Kofiau, but these other styles of Pulcher, like they fucking get insanely blue. Trooper
They
Walsh
can be insanely white, insanely blue, insanely.
bunch of things. But on the topic of blue, a lot of the blue lines that people have and work with, did they originate from Pulcher, or for the most part, or is it across the board where a lot of the, like, for instance, Trooper Walsh's blue line, right? What locality did that originate from?
Super mutts, a lot of different stuff that went into that. In my opinion, the really high blue comes from crossing really blue Pulcher with really blue Utarensis. And again, we see that in Garrick's stuff. There's one animal that's goes way back in the Walsh lineage that came from Al Zulich and his blue line. That was like the addition of the AZ blood into Trooper stuff. It was kind of like a pivotal moment, it seems, for bringing the blue out. And I've heard it said that one of the Zulich animals was a really high blue Sorong type. But it's really hard to say. This information wasn't available in the 70s and 80s when they were doing this stuff, and nobody was breeding anything for localities. They were just breeding whatever they could get their hands on. They were all green tree pythons, and if they got a male and a female, they were just felt lucky to have a pair of green trees, and they put them together.
But if the right line is bred with monocory, you could still do a blue line with pure Pulcher stuff, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the Prada stuff proved that out. I mean, that was, even though it wasn't throwing like insanely solid blue snakes, unless I sent you a picture of a female that's solid blue, but she was a high blue snake, or maybe even a true blue, that went hormonal later and became this, blazing blue snake. But I think if the time had been taken to refine the best animals from the Prada stuff, that we would have seen like really, really insanely blue animals. So it's just unfortunate that.
This is a snake you own, Pat? I'm sorry. This is a snake.
I used to have her. That snake, if she was still alive, she would be 20 this year.
Wow.
That was a 2006 Prada Maniquari that I got from Gary. And she was what I would call older than her age when I got her. Animals that were that old, a lot of people back then overfed their snakes, and she was not obese when I got her from Gary, but you could tell. Gary didn't raise her either. Gary got a pair of siblings from one of his buddies, and I bought them from him. And but you could tell that she had been obese when she was younger. But she was just, man, that snake was just something else. I had a weird experience after I got that animal and her brother, because I was so obsessed with the Prada stuff, and I had this weird, like, I don't know, like a dopamine dump after looking at her, because I felt like it couldn't get any better than that. I had like this weird, like, afternoon of depression or something, because I just felt like that I had like peaked with chondros and couldn't get anything in front of me that was cooler than that snake. I got over it really, really quickly, but I was just so stoked to have that animal, and I'm glad that she retired and passed away with me. She was amazing.
All right, boys, we got 30 minutes left. Ryan, what are we at next? What do you want to hit up next as far as chapter 3 goes?
I mean, I like poker for what they are, not, trying to make designers out of them. But they're probably, they're arguably probably my favorite. It's hard for me to say that. I love Arus so much, but the poker was the snake that got me into it, and first, a lot of firsts with them, and so to me, you can pretty much get anything you want out of a poker. You can get green and blue, green and white and blue, all kinds of stuff. So hard to beat a poker animal.
And I
And
feel like
usually pretty mellow. Most of them are pretty easy going, and overall great captives. The babies typically start fairly easy, so other than throw Kofiau out of that, but
yeah, except for yeah.
But,
a lot of people get the misconception that Patrick's fucking really hard on just about BX, and he is, but really Pulcher's up there with BX in your heart, if not more, like more has more your heart than BX. Is that correct, Pat? Like Pulcher's pretty much number one to you.
Yeah, but strictly in like the nicest, if you look at the most exceptional Pulcher type animals, phenotypically are my favorite chondros. However, as far as just keeping them, I enjoy keeping Beox more than almost any other snake that I keep, because they're just very, very different animals. So they're my favorite chondros to keep because of their behavior, and I love their variability. So Beox it's hard for me to say that Pulcher is better, but if I'm just looking at pictures, I enjoy a high blue Manokwari more than any other wild type chondro.
Yeah, we didn't talk much about Tamika.
Let's talk about Tamika.
Let's do it, man. I only found out what Tamika was when I got that Tamika. Sorry, Ryan, close your ears. But the Tamika Aru cross from Gary that he inquired, but fell in love with it immediately. And then I think it was you, Patrick, who started showing me examples of Tamika. But I feel like we don't hear enough about them. And where do you want to go with this, Pat?
Well, so Tamika is probably just another fancy label that we put on Pulcher stuff, but it is a fact that the Tamika is a good one to bring up because it's different. Tamika is in the South. So, we usually think, Southern type chondros as being Aru or in the mainland, the Morocco stuff or whatever. But the thing is that the mountain range that divides Papua north to south, it doesn't it's not a wall that goes all the way out into the ocean. It trails off headed west. And so where all of the Pulcher types are up in the Bird's Head Peninsula, in the Vogelkop Peninsula, just below, I guess, I'm just trying to visualize the map, but I guess it's probably just south of Nabire, which we would also consider Pulcher type, even though it's on the other side of the bottleneck. It seems like there's still Pulcher west of the bottleneck, but that mountain range trails off, and it looks like the northern type chondros that have a Pulcher look get a decent wave down into the south. The funny thing about it to me is that the amethystine pythons, the scrub pythons that in and around Tamika are southern scrubs, no question. And the chondros there are northern chondros. So it's kind of a cool crossover point. And while this is largely based on importer data, the coolest stuff that I have on it is one day I was I don't know if it's because of a comment that I made or something I said on a podcast, but I got a message request from an American guy that was living in Tamika at the time that he messaged me. And he would go out, he just had a job in Tamika, and he would go out and road cruise outside of Tamika. And he sent me tons of pictures of snakes that they found road cruising. and a few chondros and some scrubs, and I think a Papuan python, and just other random stuff that they found out there, some venomous stuff. And but yeah, the Tamikas that he showed me were just they were yellow babies clearly, and they were normal poulter looking animals. And he actually found them crossing the road. All the ones he found were he was road cruising. There's also an episode of The Crocodile Hunter where Steve Irwin is in Tamika. And, you know, sometimes with TV shows, it's hard to like, you know, a lot of stuff is staged, but it does seem like that's actually where he was. And maybe some villagers found that snake for him or whatever, and he got up in a tree with it and staged that part. But same thing, it was a fairly normal poultry looking animal. The only difference is all the animals I've seen did not have black tails, but we talked about this before, but it seems like in the wild they lose a good amount of their black, and for whatever reason they don't always do it in captivity, but everything else about them looked like regular poultry. But so we've occasionally gotten animals like the one on the screen that had these really bold blue markings, and they're slightly more rounded than what we typically see with poultry, and that animal, and maybe another one that Harlan had. And there was one that was in a collection in Florida more recently. I have one of that animal's offspring. They were labeled Tamika, but who knows? Same thing. Vitali had one that he bought that was labeled Tamika. I know another woman that bought one that was labeled Tamika. They were all just really nice red poultry type babies, whether or not they were actually from Tamika.
I mean, this has to be my favorite look at all the poulters personally. And the Prada line stuff. I mean, this is fucking. I don't know how it gets better than this. It's really.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And I will say we gotta show some love to the high white stuff. Ryan sent me some high white stuff that we really looked at, and I want you to break this down here, Ryan. Like, you know, I don't know. I feel like I don't see a lot of this in Pulcher. But for you,
it's not super common, but it occurs. And so I bought that snake hoping like hell it was a female to go with my high white male I already had, and it was unfortunately it was a male too. But
so you only have two males that look like this?
No, I was able to find a female to pair with this male, and assuming they all survive and live and thrive long enough to actually make babies, I'll be so fucking ecstatic I can't even begin to tell you.
I mean, there's a few high white stuff. I'm trying to see. Hopefully, I could find this female that you're talking about, because this right here.
Yeah, she's in. I snuck her in there. She's in the photo.
This is so nice right here. Is this the male or is this a female?
No, that's a Naru.
Yeah, that's an art.
Why'd you give me this? I'm confused.
Did I give you that, or was it from a previous post?
No. This is
like I said, man, I've been in country 48 hours. I'm tired.
Come on, dude. What are you, a rookie here, right? I'm just kidding.
So she's real. The female I'm thinking of is real dark green. So you should be able to a ton of white and dark green.
Poor Ryan. He needs a good 8 hours sleep. That's what he needs.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Let me see. Oh, here we go. This might be it. I mean, this is definitely darker. So from what I understand, when it comes to your projects, you want the high white to be with high white, right? Like that's
still the same male. That's just a different picture of him. Yeah.
Well, let me see. Hold on.
There she is.
Oh,
there we go. Yellow, dude. Holy mackerel.
So that's the pair I want to do, those two. I fucking can't sleep at night.
How old is she, Ryan?
I don't know. I've only had her for like 6 months, something like that.
Where'd you get her from?
Just a flesh peddler. I was gonna say a dirt pimp, but it's just a flesh peddler. So,
dude, these names, I don't know. Dude, Ryan's the king of zingers, man. I swear to God. What did you call it? Dirt flesh peddler?
Flesh peddler. She was, just a wild caught snake for sale.
Flippers listening right now are like, what did you just say?
That's fine. I snatched that. I was so excited. I fucking can't even begin to contain myself.
Yeah, no shit. Here's another one, right?
That's my original high white male that I bought the other one hoping it was a female, but
I know you love
Hopefully
this.
he's going to be a dad. This guy, hopefully he's going to be a dad this year. So
Who'd you have him paired up to?
one of my original 2013 Maniquari females.
You have anything that looks like this, Pat, in your collection? That's a Pulcher?
No Pulcher like that. I wish I did, man. I love the white on them. It is not a common thing at all. So yeah, I would love to have a high white Pulcher. I almost bought a female some years ago from Joe Swatowski, and I just couldn't. He wanted real money for her, and I just couldn't justify sending $1,200 to Joe. And this is a female that she was 850 grams fresh off the boat, and just huge chondro, and she was at least as high white as the first two that Ryan showed. Just a smear, just a total
see, you're
smear
looking
of
at the
white
Aru
scales.
pictures. You're looking through some old pics I sent.
Bro, I'll
the
show you
last one.
exactly where this is at right now. Okay, Ryan, check this out. Ryan thinks his sleep deprived fucking mood that he's in right now, he thinks he's accurate, and he's not. Look, see this? This is everything that you sent me right here. These are the very two bottom.
Yeah, those are all from the Aru post from
No,
weeks
they're
ago.
not. Look. Oh, wait,
Yeah, see the break? Did you see
Son of a bitch.
see those messages?
You know what?
Look at the dates. You're looking too high up.
You're getting you're not.
You got to check the dates, boy. That's wrong. You're off. That's from the last podcast.
I stand corrected. I should have never shared. I should have never shared that right now. God damn it!
I was gonna let you have a pass on the first one, thinking I fucked up, but I wasn't. I didn't do it twice.
I could have sworn we conversated a lot more on Facebook. My bad, dude.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. You didn't eat today, and I haven't, and I just got home, so we.
That's
both
right.
We both have a fucking pass.
We both got a one-off, dude. Fucking thank God.
No,
And
if I ever
for the
see,
very first time, I'm not hungry or tired, which is crazy.
Oh, man. If I get a picture of that snake on if that pair goes and I get the, fucking
It's gonna go down, bro.
Things dreams are made of.
Yeah, man. So I would say out of all the Pulcher projects that you have going on, the high white stuff means everything to you, Ryan, more than the other stuff, or what's the most
I don't know. I mean, I do love my red ones. Don't get me wrong. I fucking really like them. That male is spectacular.
So,
fucking
so the high white stuff only comes from yellow neos?
No, I mean that red. My red
that
male is
red-
fucking higher white than most chondros.
Fuck, dude.
Yep.
So,
Yep, and it would seem that it's more common in yellows, but that it's really hard to say, man. That could just be a sample size thing. Definitely seems to be the case with Beox. That the yellows are more likely to have that white kind of freckling or whatever. But with the Pulcher types, it's really hard to say because I've only seen so few of, like Ryan has. I've never seen anybody that has that many of them in one spot. Like they're just not common with that much white. But his red male that has all that white, that's why he's one of my favorites. I've seen plenty of really nice Pulcher males over the years. Socrates has Starscream.
Yeah.
I have a female from Starscream that's he bred Starscream to a wild caught Pulcher female, like a red sorong or whatever. And Starscream is one of my other favorite animals in the country. He's absolutely unreal. But Ryan's animal looks like Starscream with a whole bunch of white scales, and that's what makes him just one of the coolest snakes out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Like I said, I didn't want him to be the father. I wanted to breed him to that female in a few years, but I got those. I'll keep all those babies and see what happens, and then breed them back to each other and see what happens.
Yep.
So.
All right. So Pat, anything else that you have that we want to talk about on chapter 3? Anything that we missed?
Not really. Like we kind of touched on the Raja Ampat stuff, the little islands, Batansa and Waigeo and Misul and Kofiau. And that area is actually my number one vacation destination. I would absolutely love to get out there into like Sorong and Raja Ampat and look for chondros. But there's a couple of other obscure locality names that you'll occasionally hear that are also probably just tags on Sorongs. Bentuni, Fok, those are Nabire. That's stuff when you're getting a little bit south and east of Sorong and Manokwari, that all are going to be Pulcher type animals. But those are animals that we've seen so few of. It's really, really hard to say whether any of the animals that we see with those labels actually came from those areas. If you want, you could, if you want to pop on my Instagram, on the Arboreal Session one, there's some cool wild caught poultry type animals that I have on there.
Actually, I have this one ready to go because, again, I love the reds, but holy shit on this yellow, man. This is fucking nice right here, dude. Really?
Yeah, she's awesome. She
is an import.
Yeah, she's wild caught.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
And how this is 47 weeks ago. So what does she look like now? Still hasn't changed?
Yeah. No, she actually changed. She started going green really shortly after I posted that picture.
Wow, dude. Let's look at some other stuff. We're kind of in the same area here with everything.
Yeah, so if you go up to just below, those three in a row right there, that red male that's in the middle, and then the two yellow females on either side, just up. Yeah.
Right
so that was my import group from 2024. I got set like 7 or 8 of them or something, but I kept that red male, and then the two yellow females on either side of them. And then if you scroll up, you can see more recent pictures of all of those animals. They're just below the Maroke, so a little further up. There we go. So those are the younger ones that I got in last year, those 3 reds in a row. And those are, so the ones we were just looking at, there's that girl that you were commenting on. That's what she looks like now.
Damn, dude. That's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so fucking nice. And regardless if this is going to hurt Ryan's ears or not, what's your plan with these, dude?
It's not going to hurt Ryan's ears. Those animals are going to be bred to each other.
Oh, there you go. All right, Ryan, you happy?
Yep.
Hey, look, people do what they're going to do. None of what other people do affects what I'm doing, so.
Yeah, now
I give no fucks.
With the males, I'm willing to do outcrosses with the males if I have something that I think they would match up cool with. But the females are going to only get bred to those males. That animal right there. Yeah, so that's out of the group from last year, and that's the group that I said all the reds came in. The previous year they were all labeled RFOC. They came in from the same person. All the same sources all the way down the line. Last year, all the yellows were labeled Manokwari and all the reds were labeled RFOC, but that's why I have them as like RFOC in quotations on there. But definitely poultry type animals, and one of those is green now. Actually, I think that one is green, and the other 2 are still red, but should be changing soon.
But green with diamonds, right? Like I'm assuming the diamonds stuck on this snake, no?
Yeah, and with one of the things that Pulcher types do is it's really cool watching the change, because sometimes the markings go blue before the snake turns green, and the blue stands out really well on the orange, and then the green or the yellow, and then the green comes in, and it kind of like the blue doesn't go away, but it seems to go away. To a degree, because blue doesn't stand out as well against green as it does against the yellow or orange background. Then over the next few years, the blue will kind of like define itself. And so by the time the animal's like 3 and 4 years old, the blue is bolder and standing out. And then the difference between the yellows and reds from that point is that with yellows, their blue is going to stay in almost all cases. The blue is going to stay where the juvenile markings were, but with reds, like we see with the Prada stuff, the blue can like wash down away from the markings, and so you can get this blue wash down their back. Yeah, that's that little red guy. He's so cool.
This is so pretty, dude. And
I love that snake.
And a snake like this, I feel like just only gets better with age. And really unpredictable too, right? In a sense, right, Ryan or Pat?
No, I think they're more predictable than a lot. Like the only thing that you can't really pin down is how bold their blue will be, but
Right.
they follow a fairly common progression. And if any of those reds turns really high blue, that'll be super cool. But they'll be amazing either way. Those are just some of my favorite animals right now. I'm super excited to raise those guys up and breed them in a few years.
So one of the last things I want to bring up here, and if you guys have anything else, please feel free. But you said that the way these things are bred back to each other in captivity, they're almost considered a designer type, but they can never be labeled as designer, right, Pat? Like you can't, no matter how much you breed it back in, and no matter how drastic and crazy it could get, it still never will be a designer, right?
I disagree. I think that, everybody has different definitions of what designer is. In my opinion, if you are for multiple generations specifically breeding something for an extreme trait and trying to make it look way more extreme than it does in any wild type, that to me by definition is a designer.
Boom, Ryan. Boom, Ryan. That's what Ryan's trying to do. He's trying to breed insane and he fucking shits on all the designer breeders we have in this world, dude.
What Ryan's trying to do.
First, you have to let me tell you what when somebody says designer to me, it means hybrid shit mutt. So so I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we can't. We have to agree on the definition if you're gonna.
Yeah, you have to find out what the designer definition is to each individual.
Yeah. And I'm gonna back Ryan up, but also like there's a little bit of a jab in here at the same time. What Ryan is trying to do is just create animals that hopefully will be equivalent to the coolest ones that are coming out of the wild.
I mean, yeah, because I've asked Ryan, like, dude, look at the insane white on this snake, and you said they're like this in the wild. Not all of them, but some of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's rare. It's super rare, but they are out there.
But again, like David Brahms, Stoltzman, fucking Gary's, like,
yeah,
the level that they're at with these monocories are goddamn on a designer fucking level, dude.
And more generations down when they're nicer than anything that ever comes out of the wild, and that we did it intentionally. That's what by definition makes it designer. By design, you created this animal with an intention for an extreme trait. And I have 3 animals from Steven's pairing. The 25s. He did that pairing 2 in a row, and that's Prada times VR, and it's Prada from Gary. So there's a little drop of that Arthok blood down the line, but I'm still calling them Maniquari, and because that's the label that's been accepted for them, and they're fucking incredible animals, and I would be willing to breed one of my wild-caught males to one of those females, but I would not breed one of those to one of my wild-caught females.
Because you're going backwards in a sense.
Yeah. With my wild-caught females, I want them to stay from pure wild blood. But the males, you can, if I feel like doing some outcrossing, that's cool.
And just to show how good of a homie I am, Ryan, that monocory that I do get from you, I promise you it goes to another Pulcher. I promise.
Listen, you're free to do,
you're my friend, dude, and I care that you're my friend. You understand what I'm saying? Like
I got over that years ago. If every chondro I sold, most of them do not go to do what I would do with them, and I have to just be okay with that. That's fine.
Okay, so if it's a female, it's going to Patrick's Blue Deuce Watermelon.
Look, Ryan, I gotta say that I thought about you the other day, and I really felt your pain, and I'm not I'm saying this to be funny, but I'm being very, very serious. Like somebody that I know, and this guy's really nice and he's really cool, and I'm not trying to talk shit about what he did. I'm just explaining that I understand how you feel, Ryan. Somebody that I know had some Tropidolaemus laticinctus, which we now pretty much fully accept that laticinctus is not a species. They're just a color phase of the Sulawesi Tropidolaemus subannulatus. but he bred his Laticinctus male, one of his males, to a Borneo subannulatus, which eventually will be made a different species. And that banded color phase doesn't exist in Borneo. They're only in Sulawesi. And even though technically they're the same species, like most of us kind of accept that they will be separate and that they are different animals. And I got bummed out when he did the pairing. And God, I feel like a hater for saying this, but I got even more bummed out when I found out it was successful and that he hybridized those things. And I felt like it was devaluing, not necessarily in a monetary way, but just devaluing, because I was one of the first people in the world to produce Laticinctus, and a Chinese guy did it on the same day as me. I literally tied for first person in the world to reproduce that snake in captivity. And so it's like kind of close to my heart, and it's only been done a few times subsequently. And I was probably the first person in the world to do it twice. And so when that guy did that, and he sent me a picture of one of the hybrid babies that you can tell is a hybrid, but then I felt like decades of carpet python breeder angst when I was like, my mind started rolling around about how close it looks to the Laticinctus, and how if you bred it just one more time to a Laticinctus, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in the hybrids. Yep. I was feeling all the jungle diamond hate back in the day, and I was thinking about you, Ryan, and I was like, God damn it.
Holy shit.
Oh, man. Well, like I said, I've been in the chondro game a minute, and I've seen so many times where just a spectacular fucking wild snake would be bred to some mongrel shitbag snake that doesn't look anywhere near as good as it, and it's just fucking heartbreaking. Just like, oh my God.
And I feel for you because of that exactly, Ryan. Like, I know how deep you go with this shit. And, you know, somebody like me who's not even a decade in, like, you know, I get it. I understand where you're coming from, dude. But yeah, I mean, this was a great chapter, boys. I really got to say this was awesome. What's next on the docket? What's chapter 4?
Uterensis or Utarensis.
Oh, yes.
We haven't done that yet.
The northern green python.
The northern. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, stay tuned for chapter 4. Anything, closing statements from either of you? Pat, Ryan, anything you guys want to say before we sign off tonight?
Oh, this was awesome, and was really excited. It sucked that we missed last month, but I was really excited to get this one down because these really are my favorites, and I really love sitting here with you guys and just geeking out on the locality stuff. And I feel like we can go back and revisit more specific ones, like do just a Kofiau episode and show a whole bunch of, we could sit and talk about Kofiau for 2 hours, no problem.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing about these chapters is we could actually dissect the localities in each one and circle back, which we're going to do. Like we'll find ways to continue this. And I got to say, I get a lot of awesome feedback. This gets people's brains fucking working, man. And it's cool. You know what I mean? I got to say, I appreciate both you guys. And again, I don't know two better people out there who could break all this down for everyone. Ryan, anything you want to close off with, bud?
I mean, for me, like I said, Pulcher's probably number one. It'll close your ears, all my ruse, but Pulcher's probably it for me if I had to pick one.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, man. I appreciate you guys so much. Ryan, get some rest, buddy, if you can. And
no rest for the weary.
Yeah. All your animals good. You come home, but didn't your wife? Wait, we got to give props to your wife. Didn't she pull a clutch while you were gone?
Yeah, she pulled a Pulcher clutch while I was gone. So.
There you. What do you know? Wow.
Yeah. So.
Gangster. Man.
Yeah, no, and then she made sure all the babies from the previous clutch shed. And she wrote down all the sheds, and so I have the data I needed, and so she was kicking ass.
Sweet.
How many eggs?
I have a. Go ahead.
There was 16, one slug, and then when I got home, one of the eggs was looking not so great, and I candled it, and it was infertile. So looks like 15.
That's
15 good ones.
Nice.
We're gonna say, Pat.
Oh, I've got a couple of babies. I've got some eggs hatching right now, but they are as ultra mutt as you can possibly fucking get. Like they are literally 50 years deep of fucking blasphemous hybrids.
Yeah, let's not spoil the chapter, okay? So
so my previous clutch there was 15 babies. So
there you go, man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, guys, please go give my two friends a follow. Find the links in the description below. Hit them up and be ready for chapter 4. But give it up. It's a wrap for Patrick and Ryan, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, you two are fucking awesome. Thank you so much, boys. Enjoy your night, okay?
Take care, man.
Later, guys.
All right, bye, guys. Fucking love those guys, man. What a great chapter. Pulcher in the books for now. We'll circle back. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who tapped in. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Give us some feedback in the comment section, man. Let me know what you guys like best out of this chapter. Looking forward to chapter 4, which will happen on the first week of next month, okay? I don't know what date that is, but you know, if you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, select all, you'll be reminded. You'll be notified on chapter 4, okay? You can also follow us on Instagram. Follow me, Trap Talk 619, Molecular Reptiles on IG, and Arboreal Obsession and GTP Patrick, okay? Shout out to Ryan Young. Shout out to Patrick, man, to the best student of the game. Thank you so much again for your guys' support. Oh, if you guys want to know more about chondros, make sure you go to MORPHMARKET's YouTube channel. I put out a vlog that drops tomorrow on how I breed my chondros. Not an expert, but if you guys want to see what's happening with my chondro pairings this year and how I bred them and all that good stuff, head over to MORPHMARKET, man. Set that reminder. This goes down at 8:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yeah, man, I appreciate all the love and support. You guys are awesome. Episode 757, Chapter 3, Northwestern Pulcher in the books. Enjoy your weekend, please. Be safe. Quick word for my sponsors before you guys head out. But again, if you're not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you at the top. Sorry for the interruption, folks, but a quick word from our sponsors. Shout out to tonight's sponsor brought to you by ZooMed.
ZooMed is proud to be supporting the Trap Talk Reptile Network. At ZooMed, reptiles are our passion. For over 48 years, we've been creating premium foods, supplies, and habitats for reptiles and other exotic animals. We're a company made up of hobbyists that test our products on the hundreds of animals that we care for here every single day. Whether you're an established breeder or a first-time hobbyist picking up your first ball python, ZooMed has you covered with everything you need to keep your animals happy and healthy.
I'm excited to talk about this new product with ZooMed called the Slither Sense. It is a remote temperature and humidifying monitoring system, which we all know how important temperature and humidity is to your reptile. And for you to have remote access to your temperature and your humidity in your reptile room could really, really be a game changer for the longevity of you keeping reptiles. So guys, make sure you check out that product. Find the link in the description below. Click on it right now. Give me your feedback in the comments below. Let me know how you're liking a brand new ZooMed product. Shout out to Focus Cube Habitats, the #1 PVC enclosure in the reptile industry. Hands down, everything you guys see behind me are 3x2x2 PVC design enclosures by Stephen and Ashley over at Focus Cube Habitats. My entire room at this point, all Focus Cube Habitat enclosures, and that is for a real reason. My reptiles love them. I've had majority of these Focus Cube Habitats behind me for over 6 years now. So guys, if you're looking to expand your reptile room and get yourself some new enclosures, no better place to visit than Focus Cube Habitat. You head over to focuscubehabitats.com and see how many different design enclosures you could choose from. And you can also follow them on Instagram and stay updated with all current new enclosures on their YouTube channel. So thank you so much, Stephen and Ashley over at Focus Cube Habitats. And I think I got new enclosures in the driveway, so I gotta go. Shout out to Focus Cube Habitats. You are the best. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Mark Hager over at Texas Chondros. If you want to talk to somebody who likes to put people on the map, you have to go follow TX Chondros on Instagram. He has put on some of the biggest breeders out in Texas out on his platform on Instagram. Also displays some of his own amazing projects on his Instagram. You could also simply go to his website, see what pairings he has going on for this season, and also see his previous productions. Mark has been working with yellow neonates on top of red neonates, and his passion for this hobby is second to none. He's also mentored a lot of people like myself. So thank you so much, Mark Hager, for all your support. And if you guys really want to know how it is about building a community, then you got to go check out Texas Chondros. Thank you so much, Texas Chondros, for all your support. Cannot wait to see what you're all about in the 2026 breeding season. Tonight's episode is brought to you by David Brahms from the Reptile Perch. If you have an arboreal species, you definitely want to make sure you are using a David Brahms design perch over at the Reptile Perch. You can get any size perch you want for any size arboreal, anywhere from hatchlings all the way from adults. Everything you see behind me is on a David Brahms design PVC perch. So thank you so much to the Reptile Perch for doing everything that you've been doing with these awesome, affordable perches for people to take advantage of. And you can find David Brahms's website in the description below. Simply go to www.reptileperch.com or just go to Reptile Perch on Instagram. And you can also see many of David's awesome green tree python projects. He's also a highly successful green tree python breeder. Been looking up to for the last few years as well. So to have his support really means the world to me. Thank you so much, David Brahms over the Reptile Perch. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, and that's the one and only Morph Market and Morph Market Shipping. One of the biggest exciting things about the reptile hobby over the past couple years is Morph Market Shipping taking everything to the next level. Anything as far as reptile purchasing or selling needs can all be done on Morph Market's website. So I highly suggest you go check it out, especially if you're in the market of purchasing your first, second, or third, or fourth reptile. You can find a bunch of legitimate breeders on Morph Market's platforms. They stand very tall on representing the best breeders we have in the hobby. So don't look anywhere else when it comes to looking for your new reptile. Not to mention, if you're looking for aquatics or your next plant, Morph Market's a spot for you as well. Make sure you head over to morphmarket.com. And the best thing about Morph Market's platform, you could ship directly from their website with Morph Market Shipping. Morph Market Shipping has saved this hobby millions of dollars as a whole. I myself saved thousands with Morph Market Shipping last year due to their insanely cheap rates. So definitely go take advantage of these rates on top of the amazing customer service that comes along with Morph Market Shipping. Shout out to Darian and Zach, and shout out to the entire Morph Market team. So proud to be a part of this team. Thank you so much for Morph Market Shipping and Morph Market, and so excited to announce new Morph Market features that are going to be hitting the reptile hobby real soon, like live sales on Morph Market. Thank you so much, Morph Market and Morph Market Shipping. Thank you for all the fellow support. Thank you so much for anyone who watches the Trap Talk Reptile Network. Hit that like button. If you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, you'll be notified of every new episode dropping here out of the network 7 days a week. And also by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, it pushes this network out to other new keepers coming into the hobby. So by you doing that, it does more than you think. So thank you so much again for all the support. And if you're not already a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. We're doing big things over here and we really appreciate it.